It is good to hear the sound of your voice, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
I'll be honest. I was a little behind the eight ball because my wife and I had DVR'd The Voice.
Got it.
And I have to tell you that I officially hate Twitter because I checked my Twitter feed before I watched The Voice, and I was like, no.
You gotta know you cannot check Twitter before you watch a reality show.
You know, and I didn't even think about it because I was actually just reading my Twitter feed, you know, checking to see what was going on, and I came across, and then like I think it was KLTY or KSBJ, one of the ones in Texas, really did a nice tweet to you, and I'm like, what? Still a what? And then I kept skimming on. I'm like, no. And so when we watched the DVR, we had it on our DVR, and my wife and I watched it last night, and dude, you threw down, man. I mean, you threw down. That was epic.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's probably hard to hear, you know, you're like, yeah, but I didn't get chosen to go on. But dude, I'm sure it matters for you, but it didn't matter. You threw down in that performance, man.
Thank you. And you know what? There's so much that goes into the picking of people who are moving forward in Christina's head and in producer's head. So my goal and objective was to do the best I can, to leave the stage with like, oh, that's all. I mean, that's me right there. So I really couldn't control I can control what I did. So in my mind, I really don't. All the encouragement that I've gotten has been wild. So I'm like, I didn't feel it as much as I thought I would. You know, I didn't. The other night I thought I'd be down and out, and I was like, no, dude, like you did a great job. And most people are like, man, you got robbed. So I'm like, great, perfect. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling.
I turned to my wife. I turned to her and I said to her what I will say to you, and that is, you two guys together, you could do a band together, like the two of you guys, and you were twice the quality of anything else we heard that night. And I know at the end of the day, we want to give God glory, and I'm not knocking on that. And obviously, we're both believers. You've done Christian music for years and things like that. Yeah. But you left nothing on the table, and I hope you go home knowing that, because you guys both threw down, and that really was a battle round. Like that, I normally think battle round is a cheesy name for that, but wow.
Right. No, that's awesome. Thank you very much, man. That really means a lot, and a lot of people have been saying that. As crazy as that is, last night P. Diddy tweeted what you just said. Like, these two guys are singing crazy. Somebody find them. I want to sign them. I'll sign them in a heartbeat as a group. I'm like, what?
You two, I know you were competing and he went on and you didn't in this case, but at the end of the day, if he doesn't make it through either, I'm just one opinion. I don't have that much sway, but y'all ought to be talking to each other, because listening to you two together, my wife and I were like, yeah, that was a battle, but that sounded more like one of the most epic duets we've heard in a long, long time. I mean, and I'm a huge fan of The Voice, so that was best performance I think I've ever heard on The Voice.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you.
I want to know about your experience, man, because obviously you see, and being in radio, I know that there's all this stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and you saw it firsthand. I'm curious, like, what goes on behind the scenes at The Voice? What was your experience like?
So much goes on behind the scenes, obviously, but my experience overall, the way Mark Burnett Productions handles their people, my experience was great. Like, from the way that the producers handle us, they don't treat us like contestants or like objects or like something that they can just get rid of and we're just here to help us make a really popular TV show. They treat us well, from calling us artists to making sure we're well taken care of. That has been great. So that part of it's amazing. The relationship part of it, I've made some really, really close friends. A lot of the contestants I'm close friends with, and the dynamic of being in an environment where backgrounds are way different. The friends that I have now, I'm like, from a faith perspective, I'm like, this is what I was supposed to be doing this whole time, is interacting with and loving on people who aren't just like me, you know?
Right.
Again, from the faith perspective, there's a young lady on the show who swore off faith when she was 13, told her parents, don't ever ask me to go to church again, I'm not going. And long story short, we spent a lot of time together listening to her, just loving on her and listening to her. And I was leading worship on one of our breaks at Brooklyn Tabernacle. And guess who was sitting in the 10th row, who swore off church?
No way.
11 years ago. Yeah, she was like, I cannot believe I'm in here. My parents would flip if they knew I was here. But Anthony, there's something real about you, which makes, like, I want to be here and experience your life. And that to me was like, I wanted to scream, because I was like, this is what I was supposed to be doing. What I do now as a worship leader, there's nothing wrong with that, but I've made it just that. Like, I'm just within the four walls of church. Being here in Hollywood has created a dynamic of, you know, come on, dude, get in there. Like, the church isn't just for you. It's not, you know, people who swore off should want to come because of the way you're loving on them, you know? So that's a brief overview of the whole experience. And Christina has been great. She is, you know, the larger than life personality we know from over the years. There's a flip side to that. There's a mother. There's a nurturing woman who really is genuinely interested in her team. Second night in town, I'm talking a lot because I had coffee. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. I'm loving it.
Second night in town, she had us over for dinner, and I thought that, you know, here we go, cameras, let's go film a show. And the producers were like, no cameras. She just wants to have y'all over for dinner. So come on. So she just plopped down on the couch next to me and was like, okay, so you're a pastor's kid. Now what else? Like, what's this worship leading thing? Like, what else? You know, she wanted to know about me. So
wow.
I go from leading worship at a Lifeway event with my sister Priscilla to sitting on the couch at Christina Aguilera's house explaining to her what worship leading is. You know, so it's that to me, it feels like balanced a little bit now. Not saying that I don't love Christian music, obviously, but I feel like my job is not just to be at Christian radio or be at a Christian event. My objective is to be on the couch with somebody who doesn't know what I'm talking about and explain to them and love on them and listen. That's what this experience has been about.
Well, and that made me wonder too, because being a pastor's kid, being that you've been in the Christian music world, you said something in there that sparked something in my mind, and maybe I'm making a logic leap here and just be like, dude, you're crazy. What I think I heard you say is something that I think we as the church struggle with in such a huge way, and that is passing judgment on people. Yeah. And cloistering ourselves off and being like, no, we're in this box, we're in this bubble, because like the world is so full of bad things, so we need to put ourselves in this box to protect ourselves. Here you go on this show, and you're out of this box, and for Pete's sake, you're sitting on the couch next to Christina Aguilera, and Christina has taken some knocks from folks about the voice, you know, largely because of her outfits. Because the stuff she wears, you're like, all right then. You know, but people passing judgment on she's this and she's that and she's whatever. And then what you just told me doesn't fit what I think is the stereotypical judgmental perception of her as a person. So I guess what I'm curious about, not only with her, which I already mentioned, but any other perspectives on how this experience changed you as a believer and your view of, let's put it now in Air Bunnies, the world?
Yeah, I love it, Air Bunnies. Man, yeah. I mean, there's so many different things perspectives that have changed, and a lot of it has been because of the interactions I've had with people like Christina. I kind of feel guilty for the times that I've, you know, whether it be her or anyone, kind of put something on them. And you know what taught me this? I'll tell you, Travis. In the show, within the show, there's hours and hours of filming. Like, there were 2 hours worth of interviews, and on the show I saw, you know, about 5 minutes of the interviews they did with me, but there was literally like 2 hours of footage. Right. And people come to their conclusions and everything based on that 5 minutes of footage they saw. But there are 2 hours that are on the editing room floor. In people's lives, we judge them based on the minutes that we see, but there are things on the editing room floor of their life that we don't know. So I can't walk into Christina's life and start judging her based on things that I have seen, because there are things on the editing room floor that I will never know. And so my objective is to leave all that to the side and to love her and to love my teammates and to love her producers and to love that's my job. That's our job. And as soon as we can get that perspective, like, you know what, there's stuff on the editing room floor of this person's life, and I can't, and we're told not to judge, I think, for that reason, because we don't know the whole story. So great, let Christina wear her low-cut shirt, and I'm just going to look past that and love on her, knowing that that's not my job to walk up to her and throw a blanket over her. Like, that's not my job. You know what I mean? You want to borrow my hoodie? Yeah. Yeah, it's not that's not my job. And as weird as it is for us to kind of say that, like, oh my gosh, Anthony, are you saying that's okay? No, I'm not. But I'm also saying that it's not my job to go tell her, especially at this place in her life. That's not my. Again, I don't know how many times I can say it. That's just not my thing. My thing is to love. That's what I'm learning about in a big way. being here in Hollywood and being on The Voice.
I love that editing room floor thing, dude. That's deep. I think you've already touched on this too, but I'm curious. I mean, this is a pretty big stage, man. I mean, you're not unfamiliar with stages. You know, you're a worship leader. Your dad is a very successful pastor. You've been played on radio stations. This is not like, oh my goodness, I've never done this before. But yet it is something unique. I'm just kind of curious. Like I said, you've touched on part of it. How has this changed you, do you think, long term?
Oh, man. Travis, what it's done for me, broad stroke, is it's made me start to think outside of the box. This show is huge. Like, I didn't think about the dynamic until right before I went on stage. They interviewed me, and I was like, I have been on the road for a decade, and I have not sung in front of this many people. In the next minute and a half, I will sing in front of, I think 20 million people watched the show the night I sang. I thought that's crazy. So the magnitude of this show has made me start thinking outside of the box of what ways can I be innovative and creative within the parameters of my faith to reach the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the show is. It's very creative. They were very thoughtful in the way that they did it, and it's become huge. And so it's making me think that way when it comes to me, my career, my life, my faith.
So you talked about, you know, how there's all this filming and all this stuff that goes on behind the stage, and they take 2 hours of an interview and it gets chopped down to 5 minutes for obvious reasons. They only have so much time to air on TV. Do you have any favorite memories of something behind the scenes? I mean, something hilarious you saw or just something really, really cool that just didn't make it to TV?
Man, one of my favorite memories, people won't know, a lady on the production staff, she's a senior producer named Nicole. And she comes up to me because on the show, at a certain point, because of how well my opponent, Jesse, his blind audition went so well, he got 4 button pushes, so people considered me an underdog coming into the competition.
Right.
A lady named Nicole, one of the senior producers, grabs me, and she just whispers in my ear right before I walked on stage. She was like, Anthony, you cannot underestimate an underdog, because The Voice was considered to be an underdog. When it came out, they were like, oh, NBC is going to give it a try, and now it's the #1 show on TV. So you go out there and you perform like, you know what, y'all just don't know yet. You know what I mean? So it's a different perspective, because in Christian music, I don't get on the stage to solely entertain and have people stare at me, and it's a different take on it.
Right.
But that was a moment where I was like, wow, I can translate that into life in general. Like, if you have a calling, if you know you're supposed to be doing something, you do it. Like, you go for it and you give it your all, no matter if you're considered a quote-unquote underdog or not. Because at the end of the day, what's happened in my life over the past few days, whether it's, you know, Randy Jackson being on the phone with my dad or Puff Daddy tweeting me, trying to sign me, like, all that stuff is because I knew what I was supposed to do, and I walked on a stage and I did it.
How did you make it through to The Voice? Like, how does that process work? If you decide, I want to try out for The Voice, what did you do? And how did you find out you made it?
Well, the dynamic of last season was a little bit different. And the way they found me was YouTube last season. And I couldn't come because of the dynamic of them. They were filming last season so fast. It was a Monday, and they were like, we need you on Thursday. And I was like, no, you know. So the producers found you. There's open castings, and they probably did 5 or 6 different cities, probably 40,000 people, and then they got videos from another 40,000. So almost 100,000 people are trying to get on the blind audition stage.
Right.
So there's months where we spend here in Hollywood where they're psych testing and trying to get to know you, and my dog just grabbed a squeaky toy. I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, what is happening right now? So anyway, so there's quite a bit that goes into it before they narrow it down. So there were months spent, again, that you won't see, that are, you know, Mark Burnett making sure that he wants you on his show.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of the abbreviated version of the process.
Wow. I just know there's a ton that goes into it before you even make it to that point.
Oh, yeah. There is a lot, and I think people think, I'm just going to go audition. Like, I'm going to walk up and go get on the stage and sing for Christina and those guys, you know, and that's just not how.
No. So here was that last thing in my head that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
I want you to describe for me, if you would, standing on that stage at the blind audition, singing your heart out, and the feeling going through your heart when first off no chairs are turning around, and then the feeling of that moment when Christina's chair turns around.
Okay.
Like put me there, put me in your eyeballs.
This song this song wasn't my favorite song because it's Marvin Gaye, and he's a chill singer, and that's anything but a chill moment in life. You know what I mean? So
hey, yeah.
I was trying not to compromise the integrity of his song because I knew I'd get criticized about that if I, turned it into something huge.
Right.
So I told one of the producers, if I get picked, it's going to be in the last 10 seconds of this song. So I walk out, the same lady who actually talked to me before I went on stage for the battle round. And I mean, it's the most awkward scenario. The audience is told to be quiet. The backs are turned to you, the coach's back. And you walk up on stage, and all you can hear are just your own footsteps. Silent room.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. As I talk to you, my heart is starting to race because I'm reliving. I was thinking, why am I doing this to myself? Like, that was going through my head.
This was such a better idea in my head.
Yeah, exactly. This gets more fun from my couch at home. Anyway, yeah, I walked out, music starts, and I start singing. I'm thinking, probably about a minute in, when I had like 30 seconds left, I thought, this is crazy. I'm about to go home. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to impress them in 10 seconds. And I actually closed my eyes and sang a riff, like one of the runs Christina turned around and was talking about. Mm-hmm. I sang that run and thought, this is going to be the one. And it probably will be Christina because she respects this kind of singing. Mm-hmm. And I opened my eyes and saw that light go, that loud sound you hear on TV. You can hear it in the room like that.
You do?
Yeah, you hear that douche in the room, and then I opened my eyes, and I saw that light, and I thought, well, I'll be here for a little bit longer, but that was stressful. And yeah, I walked off stage, and I was kind of irritated, actually. I was happy but irritated because I was like, I just need a better song. Like, I couldn't, that was too much on me. Like, can I sing something next time? There won't be a next time for that, but I'm like, I can't do something that laid back the next time I have an opportunity to do something like this,
I love the glasses, by the way. That was a new look for you. I'm like, whoa, that is not the Anthony Evans What's that?
That is the voice. That's the voice wardrobe. I walked in the wardrobe day one with those glasses on, just kind of walking around the hotel with glasses. And they were like, "You're not taking those off for the rest of the time you're here." And I was like, "What?"
Oh.
They wanted a different look. They wanted a different look. They were like, "Nerd glasses, perfect."
That's okay. I was going to ask what was with the glasses. So that was part of the costume thing, kind of thing.
That was part of the voice, part of some behind the scenes insider information right there.
That's awesome, dude. Blessings on your music. It's going to be fun to see what's next, man.
Thank you, for sure. Good to talk to you too, Travis.